All right, got a great turnout. I think we'll go ahead and get started with the kickoff tonight. I'm happy that everybody's here. My name is Mason. For those who do not know me or remember me from the officer intros, I am the current president of EGaDS and a junior CS major. Let me go ahead and share these slides really quick with the Discord chat so y'all can see them. And then we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Is that, y'all can see that? Is that working for everybody?
Yes.
Cool, cool. Thank you for the confirmation. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is our kickoff meeting for EGaDS. I'll go ahead and do this. All right. Well, what is EGaDS? For those of you who do not know, we are the Electronic Game Developers Society. We are a group of interdisciplinary students at UT with a passion for game development, and our mission is to grow students and foster a welcoming community of passionate student developers of all skill levels. So we really like to focus on the fact that we're interdisciplinary. We have a great community, as hopefully you have already seen through interacting with our channel. We are a professional org. We have many connections. So we try to carry ourselves well in whatever we're doing. We foster creativity between everybody, and we teach, as you'll see with our workshops and dev nights. Next up, a little bit about us. Here are your officers for this year. I'll briefly gloss over these because we already did our officer intros earlier on, but this is just so in these odd COVID times you can put a bit of a name to a face and know who's who around the server. So that's me, I'm the president. We have Robert, who is events director, Elena's our treasurer, Ashley's industry outreach, Val is communications. Moving on, we have Colette is our engineering officer for the website. Steph is the junior treasurer. We've got David for outreach, Jesse for media, Clinton and Terry are our amazing design officers who do all the graphics you see. And then Karina is community. You've probably seen her a lot. She's very extroverted around the server. Grant, Jake, and Alex are all events officers. You'll be hearing from them shortly to talk about some more specific events. And then we have two senior officers, David and Dane, who just kind of help out and answer questions from if we have stuff that we ask about from past years. Yeah, so a brief overview of our events before we go more in depth with some. We have general meetings like this one where we just kind of go over EGaDS stuff and have an industry speaker. We have classrooms, also known as workshops, that Alex will talk about a bit more. We have dev nights, which Jake will talk a bit about more. And then we have socials, which will be in the server, very fun. And so I'm going to turn it over to Grant very quickly so he can talk about general meetings since he is our main events officer. So Grant, if you want to explain a little bit.
Sure thing. So every other Tuesday are our general meetings. These are meetings where you can meet with like industry professionals, such as tonight where we're going to be meeting with, yeah. So the first meeting is actually 3 weeks from today. Because it kind of like conflicts with Game Jam and all that, so it's kind of a while out. What happened? Where'd the slides go?
How did it? There we go.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. So these meetings are great for getting to know real professionals in the industry, especially locally in Austin, where if you're going into game development, no better place to start, honestly. Got a lot of great industry professionals here, a lot of studios. You could ask them like one-on-one questions like after they give their talks. And by the way, if you want to drop some questions after today's talk, you can do that in speaker questions, general meetings. Just so it's all organized in one place. And we don't have to scroll through all the chat. So yeah, past speakers are from PlayStation, Niantic, Zynga, Riot, and Alchemy. Those are the guys that made the VR what is it, like cooking simulator?
Vacation simulator.
Vacation simulator, yeah. Yeah, so those are our general meetings.
Cool. Well, thank you for that. And then next up, we've got Dev Nights, which I'm going to turn it over to Jake to talk about a little bit.
Dev Nights are gonna be are held in this server for this semester. Every Thursday, 7 to 9, and it's just we just hang out and like I mean, the idea is to develop games. Ideally, we would be developing games, but you know, we understand that you have schoolwork and stuff, so you can just drop in, hang out, study, work. I'll be developing a game, at least as long as I don't procrastinate and stuff. I'll be developing my own game during Dev Night, so that at least one person will be making it a Dev Night during these Thursdays. And Dev Nights are a great place for you to talk to other EGaDSians, other members, lots of cool people here. Every now and then we have alumni come in. Usually it's just like they just kind of drop in and hang out. A lot of the time it's alumni who are the industry people who come in, but I don't know, who knows if someone from a big company just decides to drop in the server and just hop into Dev Nights because they were bored on a Thursday night. Next slide, please.
Hold on. Okay. The Twitch couldn't see the updated slides. That might work. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so
right,
here's
Twitch should be good
the
now.
teams. Okay, Twitch is
Having a
good.
bit
Sorry
of
about
a-
that hiccup. I'm not sure
We're
what
having a bit of a glitch with
I'm
the
not
Twitch
sure what
stream.
happened, but
Oh,
I
okay.
see the slides now. So
okay. Cool.
it's good.
Okay, cool.
Did you
And then
yeah.
dev teams will be organized this semester as well. We had a question earlier about that, and so yeah, we'll be after the game jam. We'll be having an info session on dev teams, on like how exactly it'll be structured, and like how we'll be organizing y'all. But dev teams are just a place where members can sign up and like either join a team if they don't have one, or form their own team and develop their own game. And basically all this is for us to like help guide you to have a game by the end of the semester. If you don't have that much of a time commitment available, then you can be a mentor. And mentors can all they do is check in on teams, give a helping hand, give advice where they think the teams need advice at, and just try to help the teams make the game making go as smoothly as possible. And then by the end of the semester, we'll also have like play tests and stuff throughout the year to make sure that progress is being made for everyone. And then by the end of the semester, we'll be showcasing your game to like as many people as possible. So that means mostly students, and hopefully we can get some studios to look at y'all's cool games.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll have the signups, or those are the sign-up links. I'm not sure if they're all ready just yet, but the links are there. And also there's a $5 sign-up fee for dev teams, just to ensure commitment. And yeah.
And it's worth noting the first dev night will not be until after the game jam, so for another, I think, 2 weeks. So there's still time to, if you're on the fence about it or you want to get some more information.
Do you want to move on with the slides?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So next up, we have Alex to talk about our workshops.
So, hi everybody, I'm Alex. I'm the workshops director, and I'll be directing most of the workshops that go on this semester and next semester. So for our workshops, we have two main fields. We do Unity and Art, and they take place on alternating weeks, just so that because we want our members to be able to go to all of them. This semester, we're going to be focusing a lot more on creating usable assets for your projects during these workshops. So even if you are an experienced game maker or a beginner, you can come to these workshops, learn some stuff that you didn't know about before, and maybe come out of it with something that you can actually like implement into an existing or new project. So it's a really good chance to just strengthen your abilities and possibly get something that you won't have to work on later. You know, save some time with asset creation. Another thing that we really want to focus on with these workshops is for our new members. We don't want anybody going into game jams with no experience on game development. So these are a really good place to start.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Moving on, we have our upcoming events. And so I'm going to throw it back to Alex, talk about the workshops he's going to do later this week. Or next week. Or that should say Thursday, September 10th. Our bad. But do you want to explain what you're going to do later this week, Alex, very quickly?
Yeah, so for the intro workshops, they're just really basic skills that any game maker needs to know if they want to start making games. We'll have an Intro to Unity workshop and Intro to Art, both on Thursday, September 10th. And they'll be back to back. So you can stay for one, or you can stay for both, or you can like come to the art one only. Like, it's really up to you based on what you're interested in. And this will just be, you know, really basic stuff, going over Unity, how to use Unity, and how to get started with digital art.
Yeah, so those will be later on Thursday. More information is we'll post announcements about it later tonight or tomorrow, and then in our Discord we've got more about it. And then we also have the pre-jam workshop, which is going to just be right before the jam, pretty much self-explanatory, going over some basics on what you'll need to know if you've never jammed before, if you're just looking to brush up your skills. And then that leads us into our main event of the fall, which is the jam, and I'm going to throw it one last time over to Grant to kind of go over a little bit of information there. So Grant, take it away.
All right, so Game Jam is next weekend. Make sure you sign up this Friday before 11:59 p.m. We also have a Discord for the Game Jam. I think we've dropped it in announcements before, but if you haven't joined the Discord, it's pretty important that you do. And also sign up on the itch page. I believe that the link to that is in the Discord. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer than past years, just because like with the online format, things are probably going to be harder. You know, the motivation to stay up really late just isn't the same if you're alone versus like when you're with your team. So we're going Thursday to Sunday this year, starting at 6 p.m. We'll be in the Discord for the Game Jam, and we'll also various mentors to help you like with like planning and like scoping your game, and some of them may even be able to share their skills with you and kind of become another team member. So yeah, hope that y'all can come participate. We got a lot of people sign up already, but if you haven't, I would highly recommend it, because it's not only really fun, but it's also a great resume builder to say that you completed a game with the team.
Exactly. They're a ton of fun. It's a great way, if you're a beginner or you've made a ton. I'm sure everyone in this call who has done one would agree that it is just a great chance to meet some new friends and just make a game. So moving on, here is how you can stay connected with EGaDS. We have a Facebook group, and then of course the Discord server here, and then you can sign up for a newsletter where we post weekly or bi-weekly just kind of updates with events that we've got going on and ways to stay in touch and just some general EGaDS info overall. These slides will be shared after the fact, and we have a few dates that we'll update just in announcements here and there, but all the info will be here should you want it. Next up. Yeah, so here's how you can formally join EGaDS. Like all previous years, it's only $10, and you can cash your Venmo to Texas EGaDS. After the event, you can at Elena or message her if you need help with that. And then that gets you access to the GDAD Career Fair in the spring, which is hosted by UT's Game Development and Design program. And then it also gets you a t-shirt, which is Persona themed. So this is our t-shirt for this year. Because of all the COVID stuff, it might be a bit delayed getting out. We're gonna probably wait until next semester if it's a little safer, but this is our design. Terry did an amazing job, our design officer, with creating this, and we hope you all like it. We're very proud of it, we're very excited for it, and it is great to be able to share it with you all. I love it, so I'm hoping that all of you, I can see so far the people who have chatted say they love it, so I'm glad to hear it. I love it as well, and we will let you know when we can get them out to you all sometime this year. Yeah, and then we're going to take a second to talk about two of our kind of sister orgs. Longhorn Gaming, which I'm sure most of you who are at UT, if you've just been around, if you're not a freshman, I'm sure you've heard of them. They're a giant org. We love to partner with them on some things. They actually have an interest meeting coming up on Thursday. I believe it is 8 o'clock, but we will post an announcement with some info about that should you want to join Longhorn Gaming or see what they're all about. And then we also partner with WIG, and I believe Colette is here, and she's an officer in WIG. If you'd like to talk about that org or LG, either one, because I know you're in both, the floor is yours.
They're both great orgs. I'm going to post their websites in the chat, so y'all can look at them. But WIG is essentially looking to build like a space for women gamers to come together and like interact and connect, especially because it's kind of difficult, but we're open to everybody, so we're just basically gathering together to try to build the support system for women gamers, which is basically it. It's just a kind of cute little place to hang out and play games together. So if you go to our website, you can find the link to join our Discord or all of our other information. We do cute little events kind of similar to EGaDS, but just more gaming oriented. Longhorn Gaming's same, except it's just kind of general gaming hub at UT. So they do a lot of cool stuff with esports, and then other really big general gaming events. So they're super cool too, especially if you want to get competitive. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
No, that was great. Thank you. Like Colette said, they're both great orgs. We love partnering with them. So we will let you all know of any cooperative opportunities, just kind of co-hosted events in the future that we'll do. Yeah. And lastly, thanks to our sponsor so far, which is Zynga. They are very generous to EGaDS, so they get a big logo. Thanks to them for putting on some events this year, and you'll hear more from them later on. So lastly, about questions, if anyone has any, feel free to drop them in the chats. Twitch chat and the Discord chat are both being moderated. We'll do our best to get back to you on that. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions. And now I'm going to turn it over to our speaker of the night, who is Donald Harris. He's the founder of ATX Game Makers, a producer at Farbridge, and managed the RWBY Grim Eclipse DLC. He was also a team mentor at our BLM Jam over the summer, if any of you were partaking in that. We're very happy to have him as a host for our kickoff. So without further ado, the floor is yours, Donald. So if you'd like to share any slides, feel free, and I'll boost them up to the Twitch.
Sure thing. I definitely have some slides going. So first off, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So let me start by flipping my screen here. I think it's because you're still
Oh.
still streaming.
My bad. My bad. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Can you do it now?
Let's see. 1 second. It should be going now. Are you able to see it?
Let me check. Yes, I can.
Perfect. All right. So, just as I said, my name is Donald Harris, and I am the founder of ATX Game Makers. First off, I just want to say thank you all for having me here, especially on the kickoff night. This is amazing, and I'm very happy to be a part of this. And as you can tell from the title on the slide, the talk tonight will be about getting a job in the industry. And so what this presentation is all about is, first, I'm going to kind of give you a glimpse into my background, and so that way you can understand my position when I'm talking about certain things, or some of the experiences that I've had getting into the industry, then building a network, getting a job, and then key takeaways from this presentation that I would like everyone to come away with. And also, in the speaker questions channel, feel free to drop questions in there. I will try to get to them after I go through the slides. All right, so a brief history of Tall Gamer. So if you're in the Discord with us, you'll see that my user handle is Tall Gamer. That is my most creative way of creating a user handle, right? So I'm 6'8", and I play video games, therefore I'm Tall Gamer. Some of the games that I've been a part of is Titanfall for the Xbox 360, Ruby Grim Eclipse, which was mentioned earlier, Transport Tycoon, Monopoly Bingo, and then all the way back in when gaming on Facebook was cool, I was also a part of a game called Terrapets. And so I've been everything from executive producer to QA to many other different roles in getting games out the door. Some of the companies that I've worked for that you might recognize is Dell, Goldman Sachs, EA, of course. I think everybody works at EA. And I am currently employed at Farbridge, and then, of course, my organization, which is called ATX Game Makers. That's an organization that I founded last year that is, the sole mission is to increase the diversity in the games industry. All right, and then I'm getting a warning message. Are you guys still, are you seeing the more history slide?
Yes.
Mason, can you confirm? Okay, cool. Just making sure.
Yeah.
All right, and so with that, so now that you understand a little bit about me, let's go ahead and get right into the meat of it. So the end result is that you want to get a job in the games industry. One of the things that I want you to make sure that you do as you're going through college and as you're coming up and you're developing all your skills is to really understand what motivates you and keeps you entertained, something that you like to do, right? And so one of my favorite quotes from Socrates, I almost said Socrates, is to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And what I want you all to take away from this is, like, it's many different disciplines in making video games. Figure out, if you want to be a coder, understand that you're going to be developing and writing code for 40 hours a week, and there's frustrations in that, and it will become a job. So make sure it's something that you enjoy. And with that being said, take the time to explore different disciplines. We during the introduction of tonight's meeting, we talked about the different game jams that take place. You might want to play a different position on some of these game jam teams just to try your hand at it, just to see if you never know, you might enjoy sound design. You might, come up thinking that, I really love creating art, but I really like writing stories, and let me check out being a narrative designer once, So explore before you settle. And then once you get an understanding of yourself, the very next step is to start building your portfolio. And you know, the very first line that I have here is that portfolios aren't just for artists. There have been many times where, you know, I'm in an organization and I'm in a hiring position and people aren't listing things that pertain to their discipline. And so it's hard for me to get a good understanding of what they've accomplished when they just say, oh yeah, I worked on this game. Okay, well, great. Where can I see your actual work? And there's many different ways, which I'll get into a little bit later, of displaying your work depending on the discipline that you're in. But start taking track or start keeping note of all the games that you complete in your game jam. You know, understand the key examples that you know, make sure you have examples to highlight from these game jams that you're going up in and putting that stuff on your resume and building your portfolio. The thing to be aware of when you're building your portfolio and you're developing your skills is this thing called the skill gap. And so essentially what it is as you are developing your skill, let's just take art for example, as you're developing your skill, your taste for art will grow, meaning that you're going to start appreciating and liking more complex art, more challenging art, and things of that nature. But your skill set may not be able to create that stuff. And so what you want to be aware of then is not to get discouraged and understand that keep working towards developing your skill so that your skill will eventually get to your taste. And so that's one of the little warning slides that I wanted to put in there for everyone. Next up, as you are, you know, as you're getting your skills up, you are building your portfolio. Now it's time to build your network. And so you've already taken one big step in building a network by joining EGaDS. And so the people in this organization that are with you are people that are going to help you get connected and stay connected to the industry as you move forward. And so it's very, very important. I know you guys have a lot of things to do as far as school is concerned and learning and things of that nature, but I can't tell you how important it is to have a network. And so what I mean by network is things like LinkedIn. So first off, there's many different networks out there, and social networks are definitely a big part of it. But LinkedIn is a network for professionals, and I always tell people it's kind of like the professional version of Facebook. Like you go to speak to hiring managers, CEOs, or industry leaders, and you go and you build relationships with these industry leaders. If you are an artist, so you might want to try out ArtStation, and that's a place where not only can you host your portfolio, but you can also connect with other artists and learn from other artists there. And the same thing with GitHub, right? So these first three, LinkedIn, ArtStation, and GitHub, are all different places where, you know, LinkedIn, you can post your very resume itself. And so you can list all of your accomplishments, no matter what your discipline is there. And then of course, GitHub is where you can not only store code, but you can also open your repos so that other folks can see them, and then you can exchange information and learn from others. And so that's always going to be very important. Twitter, Facebook, even Instagram, you know, all of the social media platforms that are out there, yes, you can use them to take a picture and show me what you had for lunch, but you can also use this to stay connected to the industry that you love and that you want to be in, and continue to grow relationships within the industry. And then of course, additional local organizations. So I put the logo for ATX Game Makers, which is my organization, but there are definitely a bunch of others, and I have a few listed on the next slide here. And so again, some of the local community is there. Again, ATX Game Makers, the C++ group, which is run by Alan Utoff, Austin Game Makers Unite, which is a great organization. That's a huge one. And then of course, DR Austin. So, and literally, this is just a tip of the iceberg when it comes to communities around town that you can link up with and grow your network in. And fair warning, a lot of these organizations have industry leaders in them. So, you know, again, like this slide says, you know, networking is a two-way street. Helping out these industry leaders now and being a part of the community and contributing to the community lets them see how much of a hard worker you are. And it also, it's just like any other relationship, right? You can't take from the relationship when you don't give into the relationship. So keep that in mind. Help these other organizations and communities grow. When you're building out your network with key individuals, make sure you're asking them, what can you do for them, right? It's not necessarily all about what they can do for you. Make sure to help them out. And then if you're diligent enough, the best thing that you can get from a network is a mentor. And so I've had many different mentors throughout my career. When I was first getting in, and, you know, I was being challenged every day on things that I had no interest in, right? Well, I didn't think I needed to have an interest in. So my personal favorite discipline is production or project management. And my very first mentor, his name is Jay Moore. He literally had me study almost every discipline underneath the sky of game development. And I was like, why am I studying code? Why am I studying this? Why am I doing this? And what it came down to is, as a producer, I needed to know and understand these different roles so that I can help manage them and get stuff done in a timely manner. So mentors are kind of like a continued education once you leave UT. And so I have mentors to this day. So it's definitely the thing to have. And then also the mentors will set you up for different jobs out there, right? And so now that you have a portfolio in place, you have your skills built up, you have a network to tap into to see where job openings are, you have a mentor to help guide you through these mazes and prepare your resume, then it's time to apply for a job, right? And so again, this slide kind of harkens back to all of the other things that we just previously spoke about: maintaining your portfolio, checking out your network, seeing what's going on in your network, having your resume created and updated at all times. I still fall victim to this particular point where I will go looking for a job and I had to spend a week updating my resume, and it's a pain. Leveraging your community, you know, for instance, in ATX Game Makers, we have a room that is dedicated to job openings. And I'm like, every week there's like 2 or 3 new job openings there. So definitely check out your communities. And of course, ask your mentor, right? Always keep in contact with your mentor. And so that brings us to the key takeaways. And I think I kind of hammered it in throughout the talk, but if there's anything that I want you guys to take away from this, is create your portfolio no matter what discipline you choose. Build your network. It's just imperative. Get a mentor. They will help you avoid pitfalls and they'll help keep educating you. And then be patient and work through the rejections. It's, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know which way you lay on this, but the gaming industry is kind of like the rock star, Hollywood, mom, I want to grow up and be a rock star type industry where everyone wants to get in. And so it's extremely competitive. You will get rejected. Pick your head up, dust yourself off, and continue trying. It's definitely worth it. And so that's the end. If you guys have any questions, I'm definitely sticking around to answer questions. And this is all my contact information if you want to find me later.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. It was very informative. Yeah, and like Donald said, he'll be sticking around for questions. I and a bunch of other officers will be too. We've plenty of time slotted, so feel free to chat, ask away. We're not going anywhere, so yeah, that was a great presentation. Thank you for coming again, Donald.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. It was amazing.
Yeah. Ooh, I made a weird noise. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, well, we hope that everybody is looking forward to a good semester and year ahead with EGaDS. I know I am. Oh, looks like we've got some questions in the chat for you, Donald, if you want to go through those.
Yeah, a lot of people typing in the speaker questions chat.
Good.
Let's see. What's been your favorite project? Oh, favorite project that I've worked on. Man, I think it's kind of a toss up between Titanfall and Ruby Grim Eclipse. And the thing is with Titanfall is like it was a game that I really wanted to like play, and then when I got the job, so this was when I worked at Blue Point Studios, which is an amazing studio. They they kept everything a secret until you actually got the job, and then like you literally walk behind this door that's shaded, and you see that, oh man, you're working on Titanfall. So that one was super exciting. Ruby Grim Eclipse was exciting for a number of reasons. It was a pretty big personal accomplishment for me on business development side. So I also do business development and project management. And it's a local Austin company. So I got to go to RTX and be kind of like seeing fans react to your game firsthand is a very insane thing to see. Like when you're in front of someone and they're like geeking out or like instantly judging the last 6 to 8 months of work that you just did, it's quite thrilling. Can you give us more info on ATX Game Makers? So yeah, sure. The website and Discord links are all there. It's atxgamemakers.com. So back in November, there were a couple of local Austin meetups that were dying down, and I wanted to start something to help, literally to help bring in new talent into the games industry, but also with a focus on diversifying it. So what I try and do in ATX Game Makers is we have a whole bunch of people come in. We will help write resumes, hold mock interviews, develop your skills, and then we have like chat rooms in the Discord that are kind of broken down per discipline. And it's just a big helpful community of like, hey, I got this weird C++ bug. Let me go and ask in the coders room and figure it out. So it's just a overall community that is trying to, and it's open to everyone, right? But like, we're trying to help diversify that. So that's our focus at ATX Game Makers. What made me choose game development? The creativity of it all. I'm a very creative person, and I absolutely love video games. I love the fact that video games can take you away from your everyday troubles and just like send you off to a far world to keep you entertained. Any recommendations for get around challenges introduced by quarantine? Yeah, so the very first recommendation for getting around challenges introduced by quarantine is doing exactly what you're doing right now, right? So the book is better is the person's username who's asked that question. So you are now in an event where we're bringing people together and we're talking about gaming. You're in a room with possibly other gaming industry professionals, reaching out and developing that network that I told you about. Just like I'm talking about myself, and I've been talking about myself for the last 30 or 40 minutes or so, people like to talk about themselves. So get on LinkedIn, find people that you want to connect with, and be like, hey, ask a simple question. Hey, what made you get into game development? And people will just start talking. What was my biggest challenge starting out in the games industry? Biggest challenge was not knowing what I didn't know. So there was so much to the industry that I didn't know. So, Ashley Poprick asked that question. What was my biggest challenge getting into the industry? The biggest one for me was that my network was all in the technical world. Like, so I had worked at Dell for 10 years. I could tell you everything about a computer, a server, this, that, and the other, but I didn't know anything about video games, and I didn't know how they were made. I didn't know. I didn't have any friends in the industry to tell me what was what, and what skills could I transfer from my sales job at Dell over into the games industry until I got a mentor. And that mentor, Jay Moore, literally helped me figure this out and figure out where I belonged in the industry. So let's see, Fate of Reality asks, is there a place we can go to see what an ideal portfolio looks like for each profession? You know what I would suggest, and again, this is kind of a shameless plug for ATX Game Makers. I would say hop on the ATX Game Makers Discord and ask that same question into each of the disciplines, the rooms there, and you'll get some good examples. Other than that, I would say, again, finding someone who does what it is that you want to do and asking them for their portfolio. I mean, like, that's how I got a certain resume format that I love and that I've fallen in love with, is by asking for different accomplished people's resumes so that I can base my format off of them. Loremonger asks, how does someone keep themselves from burning out? Ooh. Jeez, man. That is a very good one. So I just gave a talk at GDC about burnout. You have to be the master of your own destiny, right? So a lot of organizations now, it's getting better in the games industry. A lot of organizations now are more aware of mental health and mental fatigue of their employees, but unfortunately, a lot of that onus is still going to be on you to say that, hey, you know what? I've put in 40 hours a week. I've put in 50 hours a week. I need to take a vacation. I need to push myself away from my work and refocus on myself. And so I think that's something that you have to be very, very careful of. Be careful of your time and be careful of of everything that it is that's your mental health. And Adam asks, what's your personal opinion on the Switch? Okay, this is a setup question. I absolutely love the Switch. You know what? I'm still going to talk about it. I absolutely love the Switch. I think it's revolutionizing the games industry. I think it put a bunch of fire into the industry. It's like, oh wow, there's a new format to put my games on. So yeah, I'm on fire about the Switch. Thank you for the presentation. You are welcome. Let's see. In a portfolio, is it possible? Let me get here. Is it possible to share too much of your process, even with a single piece of? How do you identify the parts? How do you identify what parts of your creative process to share? That's a good question, Dane. So the question is there too much of you? Can you share too much of your process in your portfolio? And so I am of the opinion that answer is no. Like, I don't think that you can share too much of your process, especially if you come out with a good end product. And so what ends up happening there is, sometimes when I look at different portfolios and I'm trying to find someone to hire or whatnot, going through their process allows me to see how that person thinks. All right. And so if they are an artist and they are showing different iterations of their artwork, it helps me understand, number one, how long they work, or B, number two, from which angle do they approach their particular problems. So it helps me understand who they are. So I don't think it's me personally. I don't think you can share too much. But it's I think as your skill increases down the line, your process will change, right? And so that's also a good thing of showing. Like you're showing that you are growing as an individual. So that's good. Okay, so Grapefruit asked, so multiple times we talked about getting a mentor. How does that actually work? How can you find someone who is actually invested in your career? In my experience, I've had several mentors, internships, so it's hard. Okay, so the base question is, you know, how do you find a good mentor? That is hard. It's just like finding a good employee. It's a tough thing, right? Having a good mentor is, or finding a good mentor, you want to look for certain qualities, right? And so you know, if number one, if people are advertising that they want to mentor people, that is a number one good positive sign. Just because, I know that's like no duh, but the reason why I say that is because they're going out of their way to do this extra work. It is definitely extra work mentoring people. One of the things I'll say that to you, one key way that you can find a good mentor is the next time you do a UT game jam and you see those mentors in there, hit each and every one of them up, right? But when you find a good mentor, you also need to be a good mentee, right? And so not only does that mean asking your mentor questions and learning from them, but also taking your own initiative and maybe either creating a problem, or not creating a problem, but let's say starting a project and saying, hey, you know, based on our last talks, I started this particular project, which is a little bit above my skill level, and I've gotten it to a point where I need your mentorships. So it's like, you know, again, it's almost like that two-way street thing, right? So it's like, hey, the mentor will do things for you, but make sure you bring things to them to help you with, right? So constantly be engaged. It is tough sometimes to find good mentors. You know, it's an unpaid thing, and it's where people are trying to give back. So unfortunately, life can happen, and it may take their time away from you. But yeah, I've lucked out on finding my mentors. But be upfront, set some guidelines, say, hey, look, you know, I want you as my mentor. I would love to be able to meet with you once a week for 30 minutes. Like, you have a plan. You should have a plan when you meet your mentor or when you're asking for a mentor, right? Because they might ask you, what does me mentoring you look like? What do you want to get out of this relationship? So you need to have an idea of what it is that you want before you go to them. All right. We have any other questions? Worst advice I've ever gotten. Oh my gosh. I don't know. To answer the question, worst advice I've ever gotten? No, I don't know, man. I'd have to think about that. Worst advice? I don't know. That's a unique one. What games am I playing right now? So I got a guilty pleasure of playing Star Citizen. And before the moans and groans, here is why. So as a person inside the industry, I find it very, very interesting to see this game being developed in the way that it is, and the choices that the studios are making as they develop the game. So for me, it's a unique insight. The best advice that I've ever gotten was honestly to keep trying. Like, it's tough, man. It's like, it took me some very, very hard work to get into the industry. I just tried and tried and tried. And I think that's the best thing. You know, you gotta get over that rejection, and you just gotta keep trying for it. All right, let's see. what's the day-to-day job like of a producer? So day-to-day job of a producer is pretty interesting. So depending on if you are a producer that is managing multiple projects or you're managing one project, the best experience that I can give you is because I can tell you from is because I'm managing multiple projects at my day job. It's literally checking in with the team and getting a good understanding of what everyone is working on and keeping your internal and external customers satisfied. And so what I mean by that, in the sense of a traditional game studio, your external customers are literally the people buying and picking up your game. The internal customers are people like your boss, the person that you directly report to, and then all of the engineers and artists and sound designers that you also manage, right? And so for me, like a day in the life is literally going in, checking in on all of the projects. If there are any builds that are kicked off, making sure that they get over to QA or QAing it myself, just because I'm the producer and my name is on it. I want to make sure it's, in tip-top shape. Understanding that, where I am on my budget, because I have to answer to my boss and say, hey, I'm spending this many thousands of dollars, so far this week, and here's where I am, here's where I think the team will finish. And so for me, that's a lot of fun because I love interacting with a bunch of different people, and it's even more amazing like when you have a team that you just click with and you're able to like build those relationships. Even when things go wrong in production, you understand that your team has your back and they understand that you have their back. So like, again, relationship building 101. Maybe that's why I like production so much. So Gareth asked, how do I define success? That's an open-ended question. So what I'll say for in the world of production, how do I define success? I define success in the world of production when all of my internal team members are happy and my external team members are happy. So if my customers got a good video game and a fun video game to play, that's great. That's part of the success. If all of my team members, the people who actually put the game together, can go home and rest easy and they are happy and they're not overworked, they're not, stressed out, they're not missing their families, that's the other part and probably the most important part of my success. You mentioned being mentored in every field. How did you stay motivated to keep improving on something? Yeah, so, okay. The question is, I mentioned that, earlier with one of my mentors, he was taking me through all of the different disciplines and how did I stay motivated, especially when it's something that I personally didn't enjoy. That was tough. It was a lot of patience with myself because like I was young and I knew there was a lot of things I didn't know. And when my mentor basically broke it down to me and said that, hey, this is going to help you respect other people's time and respect other people on your team, that's when it kind of clicked for me like, okay, I got to go through this because I got to see what kind of hell I'm going to put a developer through if I say, hey, Adam, I need this now from, an iOS game. I need you to turn this into a VR game. If he flips a table, I don't know why he's flipping a table because I don't know what that involves, but getting a good understanding of, what software engineers do, what artists do, and how they do it and how long it takes, that's definitely something that's worth learning and understanding. How do you stop yourself from overscoping, especially on personal? How do you stop yourself from overscoping, especially on personal projects? So, my funny answer to this: after enough failed projects, after enough personal failed projects that you have littering your ground, you'll know to size things down a bit. But I think the best way to do that is, you know, you're in college right now. Take it to some mentors or people who are established or people who are already in the industry and say, hey, look, I got this personal project. You know, I'm going to UT. This is my first year at UT, and my personal project is I want to build an MMO. And so, and usually what they'll do is they'll cut you off right there. They'll say, nah, that's too big. Let's scope it down to 2D platformer. We'll call it good. But definitely take your personal projects out and get opinions. And here's one of the things I want to point out to you, Dane. When I say take your personal projects out and get opinions, I know that you will be afraid that someone with more skill will take your idea and copy it. There are so many ideas out there in the world that it's not worth the time to copy an idea. And I know that, you know, it may sound insulting, but, you know, hey, my idea is special. And I'm sure it is. But it's just like everybody else has their own idea and they're busy trying to work on their own personal project. But they can give you an opinion on yours. I guarantee it. What's the closest you've ever been? Oh, man. Okay, so what is the closest you've ever been to giving up and you kept going? So there was a project, and I won't name the project, but I was putting in around 100 hours a week. And again, I just spoke about, you know, burnout and things like that. This was definitely sizzling me at both ends, so to speak. And there, you know, I even like caught pneumonia during this project, and like just felt like, yeah, this whole industry is just not worth it. Because like at the time there was like talks about other industry, you know, other game studios doing a lot of overtime and things like that. And yeah, my wife had to kind of like basically snap me out of it. She's like, hey, look, you can't do 100 hours a week. Like it's going to kill you. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, do I give up completely on my dream of being in the games industry, or basically do I stand up for myself? And it was literally like one of those things where I had to like choose. I had to go in and I said, hey guys, look, I can't maintain 100-hour work week. Like this has to stop. Like we have to talk about bringing this to a close and getting it back to human hours. And then that's what the studio did. And so that was tough. That was a tough time. What does it take to fully realize a project? When you say fully realize a project, do you mean I don't quite get what you're asking there. Like, are you saying like how as far as planning? If you can give me a little detail on that, Ralph.
I guess what I mean is, at what point do you consider a game to be done?
So okay, so in a professional project, when the money runs out, right? You know, it's when the money runs out or the date is there. So, you know, in a professional setting, those are the two big levers, right? It's like, hey, we have a ship date. We only have so much money that the publisher has given us, so we have to build in all the features that were in the design document. And so we use that design document as our Bible. Once that is done, that is the game. We polish it for bugs and we ship it. And that sometimes is what's missing, or that discipline is what's missing from your personal projects, right? And so, you know, a lot of the times you're sitting at home, you're oh man, you know what? I got an idea. I want to make a 2D platformer, blah, 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 with these mechanics. You don't write anything down. You immediately open up, you know, Visual Studios and get to cracking, but then you don't have anything that's telling you when you need to stop. So this would be one of those things where I'll say to everyone, it's like, hey, write your own design document. It doesn't have to be like a 30-page design document, but it can at least be, a couple of pages defining, how many levels there are to your game, what are all the features that you want in your game that you want it to be unique, and just, when you get to the end of that design document, that is your game. You build to that design and have the discipline to say, okay, I'm going to ship it. Let's see. Is there anything you wish you did differently while you were getting into the industry? No, not that I can think of. I literally, when I put together this talk, I thought about the key things that really helped me get into the industry, and building that network and creating those relationships was just monumental, man. And keeping your nose clean, being a good citizen inside the industry, right? So I would hope that any of you can go anywhere and say, hey, what do you know about this guy, Donald Harris? And, hopefully 9 out of 10 people will say, oh yeah, he's a pretty cool dude, pretty knowledgeable, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, no, I don't think I have any big regrets. Question from the stream. When looking for a job in the industry, how do you avoid companies with, okay, this is good. When looking for a job in the industry, how do you avoid companies with a toxic work environment? So, you're touching on some topics that I have for a future conversation, but a lot of what you can do is you can go and start researching things like Glassdoor. There's the site Glassdoor is literally it's a safe haven for employees from different studios to come in and speak freely about the environments that they're working in. Luckily now, people are being more vocal about mistreatment and toxic environments inside of studios. And so that, just definitely do your research there. If the studio that you're looking at, go look at the About Us page on their studio, right? Pay attention to their job openings and see how they're written. See if it's written in such a way that, through writing, you can be kind of selective on who you're writing to. And then again, going in and looking at their About Us page and seeing their studio picture. If the image looks homogeneous, that might be a clue that they may not think differently. Definitely do your research though. And then also go into LinkedIn, follow people from that studio on LinkedIn, and you can see their blog posts and you can see their updates and you can kind of see the mentality that they have. And if you're seeing some questionable conversations from leaders inside that studio, stay away. It's tough, and it's literally so. I'm glad that you asked that question. So near the end of September, I'm going to announce this soon. I am having a panel that is going to talk about how to create an inviting culture. Or I'm sorry, that's another talking about. The panel is going to be called Hiring Diverse, and so we're going to be talking to industry leaders to say, hey, these are the steps that you need to take in order to present your company as a place that is willing to accept a diverse candidate, and that you are interested in diversifying your studio. So definitely stay tuned. All right. Y'all were drilling me. Any other questions? right, over to you, Mason. Uh-oh, if Mason doesn't have his mic muted. And also, you guys can feel free to follow me on Twitter or on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Donald Harris, or Instagram, or the Discord channel for sure.
There we go. Yeah, I don't know why I was muted there. Whoopsies. Yeah, does anyone else have any more questions they want to drop into the speaker questions channel for Donald? I'll give it a couple seconds, but hey, we're drilling you. that was a lightning round.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of curious, passionate people in our club, so glad you could stick around for that. If there are no more questions, then that wraps tonight up. Thank you very much for coming, Donald. We appreciate you having again. Glad to call you a friend of EGaDS.
Sure.
If anyone has any general questions about EGaDS, feel free to drop them wherever in the server. Myself and I'm sure a few other officers will stick around to answer questions. I will, in a minute, share the Venmo, how to formally join EGaDS as a member. I will share that slide in just a second, so anybody who wants to go ahead and do that can. Again, that's open the whole semester, but if you want to go ahead and get that out of the way, I will leave the information up to do so. And yeah, we're ending a bit early, but I think that was a very productive and well just put on kickoff, and I'm thankful for all of you that came today, again for Donald for speaking. And yeah, I hope to see all of you at future EGaDS events. We have a lot planned. As we get closer to certain things, we'll be sharing plenty of announcements and plenty of info, so there will be many opportunities for you to keep up with what's going on here. So yeah, that concludes our fall kickoff. Thanks again, y'all, for coming. Like I said, I'll stick around with some others to answer any general EGaDS questions. Donald, you are more than welcome to stick around as well. Yeah, thanks y'all for coming, and I hope you have a good semester and that we see you all at EGaDS events in the future. So, bye y'all.
See you guys.